Today is Thursday, July 29, 2021. Roland Martin Unfiltered, broadcasted live from the North Austin Muslim Community Center here in Austin, Texas. Day 2 of the March for Democracy. We, of course, have been covering this, and so we're going to give you a recap of what took place today. You'll hear from Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., also from Reverend Dr. William J. Barber, Beto O'Rourke, and some of the protesters for the marchers here as well. In Washington, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee was arrested today, protesting at the Senate Hart Office building. We'll show you some of the photos from Capitol Hill. Also on today's show, Texas legislators were on Capitol Hill speaking before Congress and also meeting with officials there. We'll talk to State Representative Sinfonia Johnson, of Houston. Also, a bipartisan infrastructure deal apparently is now done. $2.1 trillion also was approved by the Senate for Capitol Police and others. Also in St. Louis, the interim health director was cussed out and dogged for people because of a mask mandate. What the heck is going on? We'll hear from him. Also, attorney Gwynne Wilcox will be the first black woman to sit on the National Labor Relations Board. Plus, a crazy-ass white person in Mississippi. Wait till you show you what this cop did. Folks, with our jam-packed show, it's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin on the filter. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
All right, folks, welcome to Roland Martin on the Filter. We're broadcasting again from the North Austin Community Muslim Center here in Austin, Texas. This was the location for the end of the second day of the march. We, of course, live stream the entire event. If you want to see all of it, just simply go to Roland Martin, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin to see it. Guys, kill the music, please. I'm still hearing music, so please kill the music. Thank you very much. And so, like I said, we were actually covering all of this today and giving you a sense of what took place here. Folks were on the streets there. Give me 1 second, guys. I actually have a package that I put together. So let me know if you guys are looking or seeing my iPad. And so I'm going to actually show that in a second. We, of course, had folks. We had folks who were marching today, and like we said, we told you about yesterday. They operated in multiple shifts. And that's sort of how they were. How they were coordinated. We started at Good Hope. Baptist Church in Round Rock. Ended up here at the North Austin Muslim Center. All right. And so here's a recap of what took place today. There's audio. I'm seeing it. So I'm seeing the video. You should be getting audio. So let me do this here. Let's get this all straightened out, and then we'll handle that. I'm going to bring in my panel right now. We have joining us on the show, Reese Colbert, Black Women's Views, Dr. Greg Carr, Chair of the Department of with Afro-American Studies at Howard University, Faraji Muhammad, also radio and TV host. I want to start with you, Greg. What we are seeing is pressure. One of the things that Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. has said is that pressure busts pipes. And Reverend Dr. William J. Barber said the exact same thing. And all of a sudden, you're now hearing Senator Chuck Schumer say they're going to vote on a voting bill before recess. That's not what they were saying before. This is what happens when you apply pressure, external public pressure on politicians.
That's absolutely right, Roland. In watching the coverage today, one of my very dear friends, Aya Nelly, was out there with the banners with her two youngest children, her two boys, driving in from Colleen, Texas, and marching and watching. In between, my other work obligations, what really strikes me is that, and echoing your conversation with Reverend Barber the other night, this is the type of elevation of this issue that requires people to pick a side. It's simple. Which side are you on? The white nationalists are terrified now. I know we all probably saw the story out of Georgia the last couple of days. They're trying to take over the Fulton County Board of Elections. They have dropped all pretenses. But what this does in the work, it reminds us of the 1960s. What this does is put the choice of which side you're on very clear. And just like you got on MSNBC and called out everybody in the damn country, why aren't you in the street? You don't need everybody in the street at this point, but what you do now have is a clear choice. You are either for our common humanity or against it. And so I'm not surprised at all that Schumer is moving, or anybody else for that matter, in elective office.
So I want to do this here. I want to play for you guys, again, a compilation of what took place today. So, folks, if you can go to my iPad, let's go. Today was a lot longer march than yesterday. Today was about 9 miles. Now, guys, stay with the video, please. Thank you. Today was about 9 miles. Here's my conversation with Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr.
You don't have to concentrate right now. We'll have a safe right now. Let's change that. I think that we're getting the attention to the fact that people will sleep.
So for the people who say marching doesn't mean anything, what do you tell them?
It's a form of education. Everyone's feeling inspired by marching. Even the police get converted in time to march. We march right. It's safety, it's security. We march. Armies march. We march too. Our march are effective. We march to change things. We'll adjust things. We'll maladjust. We'll fight back.
All right, then. Reverend Jackson, always good to see you.
Thank you, Reverend. Keep going. Did you?
As I said, folks, it was about 9 miles going from Good Hope to in Round Rock to North Austin Muslim Community Center, where we are right now. It was a lot warmer yesterday. Thank goodness we did have some overcast in the beginning. But that served us well. Spirits were high as well. Here are a couple of marchers.
Just getting started. We're just getting started. But we're making change, and I think that fuels us every time. Every time the Reverend delivers good news on how we're making progress in D.C., like our steps get a little bit stronger. We're stomping our foot a little bit harder.
Absolutely. Each step, one step closer to justice. We gonna get there eventually.
could be worse. It could be hotter. It could be, they could be trampling us with horses. None of that's happened. It's easy. Nothing.
Tomorrow's going to be the last day before we go into the state capitol grounds on Saturday. And the whole goal is to bring attention to the issue of voter suppression in Texas and voting rights in the United States. All right, folks, a little bit later in the show, I'm going to show you Beto O'Rourke, Reverend Dr. William J. Barber, and Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., the three of them, when they spoke together, speaking to the people assembled doing one of the breaks. Reese, we keep talking about why pressure matters. And you heard me ask Reverend Jackson, why does it matter to protest? It amazes me, these people who go, oh, these marches don't make any difference. Yet when you see 500,000 people in Hong Kong, when you see millions of people who were in Tunisia, who were in Egypt, who were in Libya. So it's amazing when I hear some black folks say that, like everybody else in the world got the memo and kept the memo and updated the memo. We got folks today who still go, oh, these things really don't make any difference.
We have a complacency issue. And so I definitely think that one of the things that the marches do at a minimum is it does shake some people out of their complacency. And I think at a minimum, if you look at these folks to say, listen, I'm not willing to get out there in the heat. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about other people watching. If you're not willing to get out there in the heat, if you're not willing to march and grab that megaphone, the least that you can do is vote when it's time to vote. But pressure absolutely does matter, because what these politicians follow is they follow these stories that get the attention. If it's not getting an attention, if a tree falls in the forest, nobody damn hears it. And so the only way to keep this on the front burner is to do these sorts of things and show politicians that there isn't widespread complacency. So my hat goes off to all these folks, because this is grueling work what they're doing, and they're really putting their mouth and behind their actions, and that is so critically important. And one of the things I want to also emphasize is, even with federal legislation being passed, there still needs to be engagement from voters across the country at the local level to make sure that their vote counts, because gerrymandering is going to happen at the state level. Who knows if voting legislation will pass before that can be taken into account? But if people stay engaged at the local level, which people tend to check out at the local level, they check out at the state level, they check out during midterms, if we can change that tide, we can change that habit, then maybe we can start to see some real change. If we get complacent, if we say that it doesn't matter, all these voting rights is a black issue, or it's a fringe issue, it's a niche issue that isn't going to impact us, we're going to see drastic repercussions for that in 2022 when the Republicans have their way. And they have shown in 2010 and other years that they can absolutely suppress their way into power. We can't just outvote them this time. If they're successful at gerrymandering these certain states, Texas being one of them, Florida being another one of them, there's nothing we can do at that point. And so now is the time to act and prevent that from even happening.
Faraji, I guess as stated, we're broadcasting from the North Austin Muslim Community Center. One of the things that the Poor People's Campaign and Black Voters Matter wanted to do with this March for Democracy, they wanted people to understand that it was an interfaith coalition of people. There were Catholic priests who were marching. There have been folks who are Lutheran. There are people who are Muslim. There are folks who are Baptist. There are people who are white, who are black, who are Latino. And so we've had different people That is intentional on the part of Reverend Dr. Barber, because what he is trying to say is this can't just be a Christian thing. It has to be a broad-based coalition of people from different backgrounds.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Brother Roland. First and foremost, morality has no religion. Justice has no religion. Treating people fairly and equitably has no religion. What we're seeing right now is the manifestation of a worldwide revolution. I want to share with you very quickly what John Adams, one of the founders of this country, he said the revolution was effected before the war commenced. The revolution was in the hearts and the minds of the people. This radical change in the principles, opinions, sentiments, and affections of the people was the real American Revolution. And so when you're talking about bringing those folks of different faiths and different socioeconomic background and really having, planting a seed in their minds and their hearts and their spirit that they want to change this country fundamentally, that's a revolution. You don't need to have, one of the big things, and I think one of the big fears that the United States of America has an issue with, is the fact that when people become awakened to what has been happening to poor and oppressed people in this country. And once the awakening happened, once there is a moral consciousness that has been pricked, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to start shaking people up. You're going to make people afraid, especially the leadership of this country. So this is a revolutionary move. And I want folks to know this very quickly. I want folks to not be concerned about the numbers, because we often get tied up in the numbers. You talked about some of the big numbers, but you know what, Brother Roland, Dr. Carl Reese, we all know the numbers start small and then they grow. So you see a few hundred people walking down the road in Texas and you say, oh man, that's not going to create nothing. But look at what has happened when you put this demonstration compared to the demonstrations that may be happening in other places around the country. It's just like it's so reminiscent of what we saw in the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement wasn't mass gatherings all the time. It was small demonstrations, grassroots organizing on this level that created the culture and the network for us to have what we now call the civil rights movement. But it really starts in the hearts and the minds of the people. It starts with people saying enough is enough. People are tired of white supremacy. People are tired of injustice. People are tired of just this political division that we're seeing in this country. And Dr. Barber said it best, you're fighting for the soul of America. Now, depending on where you stand on the spectrum, you might say America has no soul to be saved. But the reality is that we live in this country in present day 2021. We have to say enough is enough and do something to ensure that the generation coming behind us don't become burdened with the same madness that we're fighting now.
The thing here, by making this a moral issue, that has always been something that black folks have done. Dr. Carr, that was something that I always say there's common. There's a line in the song Glory where it says freedom is like a religion to us. Freedom is like a religion to us. In fact, it was interesting when we were marching today. At one point, that was a song that was on, a very popular song. I can't remember who the artist was. A lot of people really liked the song. Dr. Barber said, I need movement music. He said, I need movement music. And so I then went and grabbed my phone, and I had them connect my phone to their Bluetooth, and just give y'all a sense of just some of the stuff that I played, Greg. Woke up this morning by John Legend, Glory by John Legend and Common. Also woke up this morning by Sweet Honey in the Rock. You Will Know, Black Men United. We played Wake Up Everybody, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, really Teddy P. We Marched by Prince. One Day by Morgan Heritage, Fight the Power by Public Enemy, and Fight the Power by the Isley Brothers. We did Keep Marching by Raphael Sadiq. Had to hit some Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. Of course, I had to play some Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions, Keep On Pushing. Then dropped the OJ's Put Your Hands Together. People Get Ready, the Impressions. Had to go ahead, had to do that one. And then there were a couple of more that we played. And so Rem Barber said, see, he said, I knew you would have some movement music. He said, on your phone.
Yes, sir, brother. Well, I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. America doesn't have a soul, Brother Faraji. What America has is people who live in it. And as you say, we are hostage in this state unless we do something to intervene. And as you know, Bob Moses has been heavy on all our minds. I heard Reverend Theo Harris lead out with a remix of Which Side Are You On? And she dropped Ella Baker's name and Bob Moses' name. And that eclectic playlist you just read off includes movement music that would get me going. Certainly, I would love to hear Curtis Mayfield, If There's Hell Below, We're All Gonna Go, because I don't think that you can necessarily appeal to the soul of a place that has no soul. But I think the larger point, and this is very important, is to understand, as you say, when these numbers begin to swell, they will reflect the fact that there's something that you talk about during the Black Power movement called operational unity. We all don't have to agree. One of my favorite groups and formations out of that Black Power movement, civil rights Black Power movement with those young people in SNCC were the SNCC singers who became the Harambe singers. And every time I'm around them,
I've got a 4-disc set of freedom songs from the SNCC singers and others, and that makes up a significant part of my Black Power playlist.
Oh, yes, sir, brother. And so you have, and that's that classic Smithsonian list. And so you heard many times the song that I always ask them, Chuck Neblett, one of my favorite SNCC singers. I saw Chuck in Selma right before the COVID thing hit, the last Selma Jubilee. And I said, Chuck, man, do y'all mind singing Governor Wallace? And tell that story, brother, to these young people. They had young people. Rose Teray had them there. We were in Montgomery, and she was there with a lot of the young people, and in Selma, teenagers. And so he told that story. You see, the movement music is generated often by the young people, and they're taking the music of their time. During that period, it was doo-wop. So they made this Governor Wallace song. He said it was kind of, have you read in the paper, shoo-doo-be-doo-be-doo. And then they get Governor Wallace, oh yeah, you never can jail us all. Chuck said, when I looked out on the steps of the Montgomery Capitol and saw all them people, and I'm thinking now about Saturday in Austin, y'all. He said, this coming Saturday, he said, I looked out and I said, shit, Wallace can't put us all in jail. And that's when they came up with the lyrics to Governor Wallace, segregation's about to fall. You can't put us all in jail. The reason I raised that is because Bob Moses said this in an article he wrote in 2010 on the question of constitutional property versus constitutional people. He says this country is set up around property, and black people were brought into it as property. He said, but what we saw in Mississippi was real constitutional participation by people who didn't wait on words to give them any notion of their humanity. And he said, you go in the halls of Congress, you try to pass civil rights legislation, you do the voting. He says, but while you're doing that, there are 3 things that make this work. Outside of Congress, you've got activism, you've got collaborative work between people who might not agree on everything, and then you've got service and sacrifice. And the thing about Bob Moses, it was always clear with him and that whole generation, finally, was that as they are participating in it, they're building the type of society we want to live in. So that we can't lose sight of the fact that that is what's going to transform this. And he said, I should mention this. He said, people say, well, does marching work? He says, let me be very clear. You had a Martin Luther King element in this movement, and you had an Ella Baker element. He said, the Ella Baker elements where we were, that's organizers. You're building strength, you're organizing. He said, think of Martin Luther King perhaps as the president of the civil rights movement. In other words, when the president speaks, that is kind of like a position where you're using a platform. And he said when SCLC decided to go into the demonstration protest direction in order to emphasize the contradictions in the country, that's when they got rid of Ella Baker as the executive director and went to Wyatt T. Walker. But Ella Baker was very happy not to be in that position because that wasn't
her strength. Her strength was organizing and putting people together. She didn't say, so what you have to have is operational unity. What Barbara and Theo Harris and the Poor People's Campaign and Fueled by People is doing, they are learning the lessons of the past and understand that everybody plays a role. I'm never going to walk with that American flag as a banner. You're going to have to find somebody else to carry that. But I will walk behind a red, black, and green, or I will mark and go and help organize, and together pressure bust pipes, brother, like Reverend Jackson said.
That's facts.
Before I go to my representatives from Texas, I got to go back to the point that Reese made, and I do not want us to overlook this because Ari Berman came out with a report today that really speaks to that. It was based upon some data. The Democrats only have a 4-seat majority in controlling the House, but because of partisan gerrymandering, the Republicans could literally pick up 13 House seats in Texas, Georgia, Florida, and North Carolina. Now, folks, understand this. 75%, listen to me clearly, 75%. Hold up, let me dial that back so we can have a civics lesson. When you have a population shift, this is where the census comes in. What happens is they then apportion congressional seats, House seats, based upon population. So if your state, I think New York lost a seat because of 49 or 69 votes, something like that, okay? Well, that's why the census matters. So Ohio, North Carolina, New York, Pennsylvania, these northeastern states, they have been losing population to the south. So your population increases, you get more House seats. Listen to me clearly, folks. 75% of the growth in Texas, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida have been black and brown people. Yet the Republicans could potentially wipe out 6 congressional seats held by people of color and give those to white Republicans. Let me say that before I go to Reese. 75% of the population growth has been black and brown people, but the Republican Party is going to make sure that the beneficiaries are white Republicans. Reese.
Oh, Lord. First of all, everybody is making me feel smarter just being on this panel. So shout out to y'all because there's so much history and knowledge being spit. So I had to say that first. But second of all, we are playing a rigged game. And we're playing defense because when we have a chance to be on offense, which was 2020, which we were begging and screaming and crying about, please vote local, please vote down ballot. Please, please, please vote. Now we got to play catch up. Now we got to be on defense. Now we got to hope that something very improbable like the For the People Act passes with all the provisions in it that will protect against gerrymandering. Now we got to hope that the courts that are stacked with Trump judges, and I will say that President Biden is getting them judges in at an incredible pace, but now we have to hope that those courts will strike down some of this racial gerrymandering. They've done it in the past, but Mitch McConnell and Trump have put 200 right-wing judges on there, plus they have the Supreme Court on their side that are anti-black and brown people voting. And so this is not to say that the situation is hopeless, but what it's to say is that we have to be mindful of the way that the chips are stacked against us. We have to be mindful about the particulars of how things happen in this country. It's a process thing. If you're explaining you're losing, which is why Democrats have a hard time of conveying why it's so hard to get things passed because of the barriers that are put in place. And the Republicans think of the long game. And so we have to do something now. It might not save us for 2022, but we have to think 10 years in advance. And that's something that we've been talking about, particularly you, Roland, and I know this Thursday panel has been talking about. We have to think about the next couple of decades with every single election, because that's how the Republicans operate. And so it's so crazy that black and brown people moving to the South, moving to areas like Houston, are going to be shut out even more and gerrymandered even more because white folks know how to play the game. And what I can say is to the Democrats in places like Florida, I mean, I'm sorry, not Florida, but New York and California, and where we have the power, y'all need to gerrymander the shit out of those places too to get some of those seats into Democratic hands. Because I'm sick and tired of Democrats trying to put in place these bipartisan commissions and stacking and not taking advantage of what we have when we have the power. And meanwhile, Republicans, they don't give a damn about the rules. They don't give a damn about democracy. So we need to start fighting fire with fire our damn selves.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I want to bring in right now Representative Nicole Collier. She is the chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus. Representative Collier, how you doing?
All right. How are you, Roland?
Doing great. Also joining us right now is State Representative Senfronia Thompson, also a House member of the Texas Black Caucus. And, of course, I know her quite so well because she was a running buddy of my grandmother, Imelda Lamont. So wherever Representative Thompson was in Houston, my grandmother was right there. And so until she passed a few years ago, that was her running buddy. So we officially call Representative Thompson. We call her Senfronia. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and you?
I'm doing great. First of all, y'all were testifying on Capitol Hill today. Tell us how that went, and what are you hearing from Senate Democrats? Are they getting the message? Are they feeling the pressure? Are they now understanding the gravity of this? We just talked about how they could literally run the table with partisan gerrymandering. And that's totally separate from these voter suppression bills. Are these Senate Democrats getting the message? Representative Collier first.
Oh, well, thank you. I often yield to Ms. T, who is the dean of the Democratic delegation. But I will respond and say that we believe the message is moving forward. It's not where we want it to be before the deadline. So the special session ends August 7th. We need action by then. It's unlikely that Congress will be able to take up the measures that are needed to provide the oversight and the protections for Texans' freedom to vote. But they're moving forward and they're still talking. So that's always a positive, that's positive for us so that we can keep this message going, because this attack is not limited to Texas. This is happening all across our nation. They don't want us to vote because our numbers are growing. And the way that they stay in power is that they change the rules. They keep moving the needle further and further when we get closer and closer. So we've got to keep moving forward ourselves. Now, one thing is we can't out-mobilize racist gerrymandering. That's something that Reverend Barber said. And he is so right. We can't do that. We have to deal with what we have, and we've got to take back our communities and take back our positions so that way we can preserve and promote our communities.
Representative Thompson, you were there in the legislature when Tom DeLay, when he was in Congress, when the Republicans, not even in a census year, in an off-census year, chose to invoke political gerrymandering. You had a black House member, Ron Wilson, who went along with them because he thought he was going to get that congressional seat that is now held by Congressman Al Green. He got his butt kicked by a former teacher, and a lot of black folks have not forgotten how he screwed over black folks as a result of that. So Senate Democrats need to understand Republicans don't play by rules, especially Texas Republicans. They believe in power. And so this notion of Democrats, let's be fair, let's all get along. You just heard Reese talk about, hey, if you Democrat and you run in a state, gerrymander the hell out of your state because the Supreme Court has already said you can do it. Republicans do not care. This is about how much power can we get.
Well, they change the rules as they need to change them. Here's the real bottom line, and you've been hitting it all day. The bottom line is that Texas is 83.5% people of color and 16.5% Anglo. And the 16.5% want to continue to dominate.
Hold up. Slow. No, hold up. I need you to repeat that for the really slow people watching and listening. I need them to hear that again. Say that again. Go ahead.
Texas is 83.5% people of color and 16.5% Anglo. And the 16.5% wants to continue to dominate the 83.5%. That's the real problem here. The real problem is a shift in power, and they don't want that shift to take place. But it's going to have to take place, and we got to fight in order for that to happen. Since we have been in Washington, we have moved the needle from being dormant to being active. We have visited our senators, all our senators. However, our Texas senators will not see us. But other senators have been kind enough to see us, and even Senator Manchin has been good with his time. He has visited with us. We have visited with Chuck Schumer. We have visited with Cory Booker. We have visited with many, many congressmen. And of course, you know, today we went and we testified on Capitol Hill for 4.5 hours. So we are doing everything that we can to plead the case and to let them know that in 1965, it took a man from Texas by the name of Lyndon Baines Johnson to be convinced by Martin Luther King and many members, Mr. Wilkins and all with the NAACP, that he had to act, that Congress had to act and pass the Voters' Right Act. And he did it in 1965, 56 years ago. We are here now asking them to move the needle again, like Lyndon Johnson did, pass the act. Not only pre-clearance, but we want pre-clearance to look back 5 years. That's what it's going to be meaning for us. Every state ought to be under pre-clearance in the United States because the population in every state are being increasingly minority. And if we're going to be able to assure that the minority people in this country are going to have a say in their democracy, then this is what it's going to take. I know a lot of people want to talk about having redistricting boards, nonpartisan. There's no such thing as nonpartisan. What they want to do is they want to empower a group of unelected bureaucrats, partisan, to go in there and draw lines for people in their own party. The Congress, the Constitution gives the legislature that responsibility, and they need to have their feet held to the fire and do it right, and do it right for all people, and make sure that 83.5% of people of color in Texas are treated fairly, and those lines are drawn fairly. And the way to do that is Congress has to move off the dead center and get it done.
Well, first of all, Republicans still don't care about that. In Michigan, the voters actually passed a ballot measure to create a nonpartisan redistricting commission. The legislature said, we're going to ignore that. I mean, so that shows you how they don't care about what the voters think. Representative Collier, have y'all met as a delegation yet with President Joe Biden? Has he met with all of the Texas House members?
No, he has not. In fact, he has. We have met with the Vice President Kamala Harris, who has taken the charge of leading the voting rights for all of America. But we have not met with President Biden. And, you know, I like to remind people, we're very resourceful. You know, people can walk and chew gum at the same time. So it's very fitting if the president would be able to meet with us and also apply that Johnson-type pressure on Congress, on the Senate to act and waive the filibuster and keep moving. And I want to just make sure that people understand why we're here asking for this pre-clearance. Ms. T talked about the pre-clearance and the 5-year look back. Ever since the 1965 Voting Rights Act has passed, Texas has been found in violation every single decade. That means they're creating laws in contradiction to what is the protection. So they don't care. They still write laws that disenfranchise and discriminate against people of color. And unless we have oversight at the federal government with the pre-clearance, we're going to continue to see these measures passed that are going to reduce our voice at the ballot.
Representative Townsend, I know y'all got to say the right things and y'all got to be real nice about this.
I don't have to say the right
Okay,
thing.
I know. Frankly, it pisses me off that here y'all walked out of Texas. Y'all left y'all families. Y'all left your friends. Some folks have canceled weddings. They've had other people who passed away not gone to funerals. Y'all to avoid getting arrested by Governor Greg Abbott, to break the quorum. And President Biden hasn't found the damn time to meet with y'all. Here y'all putting it on the line, and he wants to give speeches, and he hasn't even scheduled a meeting. That, to me, is wrong as hell.
Ms. T?
Oh.
That to me is offensive. Representative Thompson, go ahead.
Well, I think that meeting is going to take place. I think his people has told him that.
Well, he needs to hurry the hell up. Because how long y'all been in D.C.?
Almost 2 weeks.
Hell, 2 weeks?
Almost 2 weeks.
He found time to go play 9 holes of golf in Delaware over the damn weekend.
Well, listen.
And I love golf.
Voting is very important to us. And we welcome the opportunity to meet with the president to plead our case. We're looking forward to it. We're not going to give up trying to meet with him. We want him to know how important this is and how urgency it is. This is the time that we have to have some action. And we are doing everything that we can to make sure we contact all our friends to make sure that it's happening. We've talked to the vice president 2 times, and we let her know that the urgency of this. We have left our jobs, our businesses, our families, our children. We have left everything. Everything is on the line because we want to make sure, Roland, that we don't have to keep repeating history and keep fighting the same fights over and over again. We want our children and our children's children to be able to have a voice in their democracy without somebody trying to chip away at that right that they have. This is a right guaranteed us on the Constitution of the United States, and damn it, it's time for us to be treated like we're some damn Americans and not like no damn slaves here in this country.
And Roland,
well, I agree 100%. Go ahead, Representative Colley, go ahead.
I was going to say, we welcome the opportunity to speak with President Biden to share his vision on how he is going to help guide and provide support to the Senate and Congress to take up these very important voting bills so that the freedom to vote is protected for all Americans. So, we want him to show us how he has made election, the protection and your freedom to vote a priority for his administration.
And I want to tell him how important it is.
All right, then.
And act now. I want to tell him how important it is for action and action now.
Well, we're looking forward to that as well. So we're going to keep the pressure up as well. Representative Collier, Representative Thompson, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot for joining us at Roland Martin.
Always good to see you, Roland.
Indeed. Folks, got to go to a break. We come back. We'll hear from Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. again, Reverend Dr. William J. Barber, and Beto O'Rourke. We'll also talk with the acting director of health in St. Louis County. Why are these people cussing this man out? Because he spoke in favor of a mask mandate? We'll show you that. And we got some other crazy stuff to show you, including this white cop who literally laid on top of a black woman to arrest her. Y'all, the video's unbelievable. All of that and more as Roland Martin Unfiltered continues broadcasting live here from the North Austin Muslim Community Center. We'll be back in a moment.
The same forces that are trying to pass these bills across the country, but here in Texas, to suppress, to stop, to undermine the vote. The same folk that block you from having living wages are the same folk that wouldn't fix your utilities problem.
In this time, when our voting rights are under attack and economic justice is being denied,
we're launching a season of nonviolent moral direct action to demand 4 things by August the 6th. The 56th anniversary of the signing of the Voting Rights Act. Number 1.
End the filibuster.
Number two, pass all provisions of the For the People Act.
Fully restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act.
And number four, raise the federal minimum wage to $15.
Pass the For the People Act. That is the last best hope for voting rights, not just in Texas, but Georgia and Florida and about a dozen other states.
Pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill and the For the People Act. Let our people vote.
The Latinx community is the rising electorate in Texas, and our representatives are threatened by these shifting demographics. Our pathway to citizenship, to a living wage, depend on our access to the ballot.
This is not just a black issue.
That's right.
This is a moral, constitutional, and economic democracy issue.
Poverty is reinforced by public policy. And what happens in Texas, as well as in America, we create policies that perpetuate poverty, and then we criminalize the poverty that we create.
There's only so much we can take, and it's time for us to stand up and speak loudly against what's happening here.
I think in Texas that it is time for a Selma-like. I think we ought to march from Georgetown to Austin. And we ought to come to Austin, but we ain't coming to Austin just for Austin. We come to Austin to save the Washington, D.C. Which side are you on? And don't tell us you can't do all of this. You must do all of this for the soul and the heart of this democracy. Forward together! Forward together! Forward together!
People our age have lost the ability to focus the discipline on the art of organizing.
The challenges, there's so many of them and they're complex, and we need to be moving to address them. But I'm able to say, watch out, Tiffany, I know this road.
That is so freaking dope.
Hi, this is Essence Atkins.
Hey, I'm Deion Cole from Blackish.
Hey everybody, this is your man Fred Hammond, and you're watching Roland Martin, my man, Unfiltered.
All right, folks. Of course, we're here at the North Austin Muslim Community Center. We told you we had opportunity to live stream today's march. And at our second stopping point, where they stopped to get some rest, drink some water, use the restroom, they heard from Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., Reverend Dr. William J. Barber, as well as Beto O'Rourke, all who've been involved in organizing this particular march. I wanted to show you what they had to say. Here we go.
We have an embodiment of the fight before. Y'all may not know this, but on the day the March on Washington happened, Reverend Jackson was in jail in Greensboro and left there. The histories are connecting, y'all. It took a moral fusion movement. Then, go back and look at those pictures from Selma to Montgomery. They look just like this march, isn't it, Reverend? Black and white, young and old, Jews, Muslims, Christians. And it, as he said, it's making an impact. So I'm honored that he would leave D.C. and come and join us, even if it's for a small, whatever he decides to walk. And Reverend, there's some folk out here that said when some of us may not want to walk all the way, they'll let us lend them their legs. So somebody out here will lend you their legs. But we're thankful. We're going to take a little bit of a break. Now, I don't want y'all to get too busy. But Beto,
I got to tell you, it is incredibly powerful to be with Reverend Jackson here in Texas today. He is everywhere that the fight needs to be fought. He's everywhere to encourage those who are marching right now, who are standing up for the most fundamental right that we can have as Americans, the right to vote. And I want to tell you that this is not something new. As Bishop Barber just said, during the March on Washington, Reverend Jackson cared enough about this country that he was willing temporarily to lose his freedom and be behind bars because it was that important and that urgent and that necessary. And it was that leadership by 1965 that gets this country the Voting Rights Act and pushes President Johnson to use his political power to do it. All of us marching today are marching in the tradition of Reverend Jackson, and we are going to push President Biden to use his power to pass the For the People Act and ensure the right to vote for every single American. You all are our heroes, and you are my heroes, sir. We're so glad to be with you.
I think we should be in state capitals on that day, because it's actually in the state capitals. But another thing we're supposed to watch that was people killing 20 citizens that day.
That's right.
Jim Palmer didn't kill him, but we presented that. The fact is, enough of us are watching and state capitals at the same time. Another country. We have the right.
We have the right.
March. Fight. Change the Senate. Change the Senate. Change the Senate. We defeat these guys in the
McConnell. Now, did y'all hear that? The Reverend Jackson. And what we're saying is, the Senate goes home. Now, they're talking about staying, and now they're talking about doing something, Reverend, because we're marching. But if things are not where they ought to be, yes, there ought to be some things in D.C., but there ought to be stuff happening in state capitals. And we're talking about that. We're going to talk, Liz and I and Reverend Jackson, about that. You know, folk might be in D.C. on that the day before, we might be in West Virginia. But all over this country, put this out, media, that the Poor People's Campaign and the 40 organizations that are here, Reverend Jackson, Beto, Reverend Liz, we are saying that there needs to be marches on every state capital saying end the filibuster, pass every provision of the 40 People's Act, restore the Voting Rights Act, pass $15 living wage, and ensure the protection of our immigrant brothers and sisters. Everything happens from the bottom up. From Austin up, from Greensboro up, from Birmingham up, from Montgomery up, from Jackson up. That's how movement takes place. So that's why we're here. To the media, be reminded, because I already had a question today, we limited this part of the march to 125 people for safety. We could have a whole lot more, am I right? We had to turn down people. But everybody's welcome to Austin. Everybody's welcome on Saturday. And we just announced, Brother Beto, myself, Reverend Liz, the campaign, that Willie Nelson is going to join us for a special freedom concert in Austin. So media, you got to hear, in Austin. And we're calling on other artists who can't come. Everybody needs to stand up. I got a call last night, Reverend Jackson, where's Roland? I told him we want Chris Paul's number so we can text him and email him and ask him to talk to Cinema. We need Jerry West, a major supporter of Manchin, to talk to him. But we need the president. Yes. If the president will come to Texas, go to Arizona, go to West Virginia, and then get the speaker and the Senate leader to call him to the well of the Congress and say we got to protect the infrastructure of this democracy. We can do both at the same time, physical infrastructure and political democracy. It's no reason it can't be done. In fact, if it's not done, you're going to have more than bridges crumbling. You have the democracy crumbling. That's right. Now, before we get started, don't y'all do too much of this, because I don't want you to be too tired. But we learned a long time ago, and Liz always reminded me, in the Poor People's Campaign, we know how to dance. Yeah. You see this, you might think it's wrong. But there is one song that says Fight the Power, that it's a song from the 70s. Just give us 30 seconds. Is my man up there? If he see me? He got me? Or either got to give the people what they want. I really would like that if you got to give the people what they want. You got that? OJ. How many of y'all know about the OJ? Now don't y'all wow and get the tearing on and stuff. Yeah. Put that on the resume. Uh-oh. When y'all hear something say tick, 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 in a minute, that means the song is coming on. We're going to have talking to regional press today, and then we're going to be talking, have a press conference tomorrow. Uh-oh. Don't go too hard because it's hot out here. Uh-oh. Not too much. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. But you got to have a little bit. You got to have a little bit in you. Come on, put those placards in the sky. Come on, put those placards in the sky. Raise that flag. There you go, brother. There you go. We want our voting rights. That's right. All over the world. And everybody feels the same. It's a unanimous decision. We're ready for a change. Come on, let's sing it. Come on, sing it. Come on. There you go. No more lies. We want peace and justice and equality. I wonder for you. Come on, somebody say it. Oh, Lord, somebody's throwing the flag. Got to give the people.
See, I told Reverend Jackson stop throwing them little mega hooks up there, but it's all good. We always have a good time. I figured you'll enjoy that one, Greg Carr. So I had to mess with Reverend on that one. I want to, I had to do that, but first of all,
I said we let that Q get away with it. He's earned it. You see him try to slick up with that. I shouldn't even do it, brother. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, he tries it every time, but I always gotta check him. So, but we're certainly glad to see Reverend Jackson out here, folks. Let's talk about what took place in St. Louis County, where these folks lifted their mask mandate. They voted. These people just beyond stupid. The Delta variant is going crazy. Massive number of cases we're seeing in Florida and Mississippi. And these folks, largely white conservatives, are just totally freaking out as a result of this. Dr. Faisal Khan is the interim director for the St. Louis County Department of Public Health. And, folks, he wrote a piece detailing the kind of names these people called him. Everything other than a child of God. He joins us right now. Dr. Khan, welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you, Roland. It's a pleasure to be here.
I read your piece, and I just sat there and I said, again, for folks with language, someone call you a cunt? They were calling you those type of names because you were speaking, because as the public health director, your job is to save lives. It's the health of the public.
That is correct, Roland. It was a very disappointing and disturbing turn of events. And, once you've whipped up a crowd of people into a frenzy and played on their worst fears to stoke hatred and anger and then redirected them at government officials, things escalate very quickly. So it was an experience that left me shaken momentarily.
And so, was it was it during testimony or afterwards, or have people been calling you and emailing you with these vile attacks?
So basically, as a public health official and as a public official, it is my responsibility to go to the county council, the legislative body, whenever I'm asked to and explain the rationale and the data for public health policy. On Monday, this past Monday, St. Louis County imposed a mask order on our recommendations, my recommendations, based on the alarming data that we were seeing related to the Delta variant. And so I was asked to go to council on Tuesday evening. I was invited there by a member of the council to present information and explain the rationale for imposing the mask mandate. I went in prepared to do just that, but what I walked into was a situation where hundreds of people had been whipped into a frenzy at a political rally outside the venue prior to the meeting and then brought in. So as I looked around, I saw a sea of angry faces. People were clearly upset and fired up. Hardly anyone was wearing a mask. That alarmed me more than anything else because I feared for that event becoming a super spreader event. And so it just went downhill from there. Clearly, this was an orchestrated political theater. It wasn't meant to be an exchange of knowledge or information.
We are seeing this all around the country, led by Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, these conservative talk radio hosts. You had this conservative talk radio host the other day who's actually in the hospital right now on a ventilator because he got COVID. And now all of a sudden his tune has changed, and he wasn't an anti-vaxxer, but he was damn near close. That's the kind of thing that we're seeing.
Unfortunately, Roland, the public discourse in the country over the last 18 months since the pandemic first hit us has just gone from bad to worse. This public health emergency, the worst that we have seen in 100 years, was unnecessarily politicized, and public health officials and scientists have been victimized and identified as public enemy number one. I don't count myself in that list. I'm not important enough or significant enough. My idol, my role model, the man I followed into public health is the patron saint of public health, Dr. Anthony Fauci. And he has been subjected to 10,000 times as, worse abuse. So we really are not in a happy place or a good place right now. People have formed strong opinions based on their political ideologies to the point that the simple act of wearing a mask when you're indoors somewhere around people that may or may not pass or transmit disease has become a political statement. That is a sad reflection on where we are today.
And from your position, can you explain to people watching why cities and counties are going towards telling people, even if you've been vaccinated, wear a mask? There are some who believe that the vaccination makes you foolproof. It doesn't.
No, sir, it does not. That is a very good question, Roland. And I explained this with an analogy of, a battlefield game, which are popular with youngsters these days. The enemy that we're fighting is the virus. The enemy keeps changing its battle strategy and its tactics. It keeps introducing new weapons onto the theater of battle. We, as the defenders of health, have to adapt our strategy and evolve it to match that. And so the situation that we were in November 2020 was not the same as the situation we found ourselves in May 2021, and that's not the same as the situation we find ourselves in July 2021. So when people say, well, you told us this back in March, and now you're telling us this in April, so you don't have any confidence in the vaccines, etc. No, that's not true. This is an enemy that is a shapeshifter, and it changes and adapts and wreaks havoc in many new ways, and we have to be nimble enough to respond to that.
And it's amazing that people don't understand that. And I mean, they still attack Fauci by saying, well, you told us no mask. And it's like, well, things change, things evolve. And you and others, y'all are trying to keep up because people who don't do this for a living don't realize how when it goes from one person to the next, it changes and mutates and looks totally different down the road. And we actually had scientists on this show in May of last year saying this was going to happen.
Right. And I would warn anybody watching, this is not the end. We are right in the middle of this battle. There are more mutants on the way. They are already hitting parts of South America. Let us familiarize ourselves with the word lambda and pretty much every alphabet in the Greek, every Greek letter after that, pretty much, because that's what viruses do. They find susceptible hosts and communities, particularly amongst unvaccinated or naive individuals who refuse to take precautions, and they cause disease, and they mutate, as you said, and throw off new variants all the time.
Well, this is, it's unfortunate that you were attacked the way that you were attacked. I'm glad to see that you're standing strong, because the reality is there are those of us out here who appreciate folks like you, people who are committed public servants who are trying to do their best to keep more of us healthy and alive as opposed to going to funerals.
Thank you so much, Roland. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot and good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Reese, these people are losing their damn minds. I mean, these folks are, and look, every day I'm seeing nurses and doctors posting stuff of individuals who are laying up in bed. One guy, 24 years old, he was trashing the vaccine. Now he needs a double lung transplant at 24. Yeah. We showed a 34-year-old brother who was tweeting. He said, I got 99 problems. The vaccine, not one of them.
The mask ain't one.
Guess what? He dead. No. He said the vaccine wasn't one. He was dogging it, trashing it. Guess what? He dead. Mm-hmm. He died. We told a story the other day. I mean, we hear more of these stories, but what gets me is the folks who are just, now I'm not putting a mask on. Was it you, Reese, who tweeted, well, your ass put some pants on when you go into a store?
No, that wasn't me, but that's good.
No, I forgot. Somebody tweet. I swore it was you, because there were no F words with this, so that wasn't you. But somebody but somebody tweeted. They said your ass put pants on, you put shoes on. What the hell?
Right. Here's the thing, Roland. People think that I'm some sort of paranoid weirdo when I talk about disinformation. I have been saying this since first of all, since Kamala Harris, since I've been talking about Kamala Harris and the disinformation campaign that hit her, and the way that the Russians have exploited the racial divisions, particularly trying to play on Black people and racism against Black people to sow division within this country. This disinformation war is winning. I remember earlier when we were talking about vaccine equity and access, and I said, yes, that is an issue, but we have to address the vaccine disinformation that is targeting our community. It's not just online thing. I saw a Dr. Blackstock. That might not be her name. I forget exactly her name. But one of the prominent doctors who talks about COVID on Black Doctors Talk About COVID, she said that she was at a festival, a Black festival, and the Robert Kennedy Foundation, their foundation, they were handing out flyers to Black people with anti-vaccination information. I know that I'm sure the people that the expert that you had on just a moment ago, that's the white community, and that's concern over there too. But we also have to realize the way that our communities are laser-like targeted. They play on our mistrust of the system, which is warranted, certainly, but there are ways in terms of the vernacular and the way that we are targeted. There are ways in which the memes target us, the images that they use. And so until we deal with the anti-science, anti-information, disinformation, dissuasion, deterrence campaign, we're going to continue to lose that battle, because it's belligerent ignorance and it's a badge of honor. These people are the ones that think that they're the smart ones. They think that they're outsmarting the rest of us, and that they're protected with their juices and berries and their sea moss. And that's good. Keep your immune system up strong, baby, if that's what you want to do. But you need the damn vaccine as well. Because if you don't have the vaccine, you're going to be in deep shit if you get it. If you don't get it, hey, good for you. But this Delta variant, they got Delta Plus, they got Lambda. I saw somebody said COVID and all, Delta and all her line sisters need to go sit down somewhere. This is not going anywhere. And the even scarier part is that the appetite for some of the deterrence measures like mandatory masking, like social distancing, like, limits in terms of capacity, that's going away. So it's a free-for-all. And what our government has decided largely is that if you don't get the vaccine, you're on your own. You can die for all we care. Now, I'm concerned particularly about children because right now the vaccine timeline is being pushed out for them. So we cannot just throw in the towel and say, well, you didn't get the vaccine, you're dumb, you're assed out, because the children are the ones that are filling up hospitals. They actually have run out of pediatric beds. I believe it's in Mississippi, where the children that are getting COVID are being shipped to other states. And so we cannot just simply turn a blind eye to the fact that people who are choosing to not get vaccinated are actually doing a disservice, and they are detrimental to our public health. We need an all-hands-on-deck approach, and that means addressing those anti-vaxxers in our communities that are spreading it, i.e. Teddy Riley and Eddie Griffin, which I did tell off. We have to start tackling it. And the administration, last thing I'll say is I saw that they have a disinformation approach to it, but it was all white people in the room. Those white folks don't understand the way that Black people, Black Twitter, Black Instagram, or Black Facebook are being targeted, and they don't know the way that it's communicated in a way to appeal to us. And so we really, really need to start talking about this disinformation because it's killing us. Black people, our life expectancy is going down. Our outcomes are far worse. We have the highest hospitalization rates, the highest mortality rates. This is not a game, people, and we're losing right now.
Faraj, I think what is so sad are many of these public servants who working in health who never get any shine, never get any attention. Folks ignore them. I mean, they're dealing with death threats. They're dealing with people who are yelling and screaming in their faces and attacking them, and their job is we played the clip from that idiot white supremacist Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, who actually criticized public health directors for advocating for public health. It's literally in their title.
Yeah, and I think that when we have this conversation about public health, we do have to keep in mind, Brother Roland, Reese, and Dr. Carr, that public health in this country has failed the American people so many times. And it's not just about Black folks. This is talking about brown folks. We're talking about white people. We're talking about indigenous communities. The public health in this country has become so corporatized to the point that people don't know what to believe. It's hard to put trust when profit is more valuable than people's lives. You know, I ran across some information saying that, and I think it was either Moderna or Pfizer, but they were talking about the fact that their bottom line, or Johnson & Johnson, I'm sorry, talking about the fact that their bottom line went up $2 billion. I mean, and then, you know, Pfizer puts out this data stating that, you know, that folks may need, you know, another booster shot when it comes to this vaccine. And then when, you know, back on July the 16th, the CDC put it out there. This was from when CNN reported that the US CDC warned people who are immunocompromised, meaning if you have a weak immune system, that the COVID-19 vaccine may not have been effective for them and encouraged them to take precautions as if they were not vaccinated. So when you have this culture, the culture of mistrust, the culture of disinformation didn't just fall out of a vacuum. It was created because of the messages, but because of the long systemic issues that public health and the healthcare system of this country has. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that we're still having conversations about whether America should have universal health care when you have, quote unquote, countries of lesser resources and lesser people having these very simple human privileges, right? And these human rights, excuse me. So when we're talking about that, let's keep those things in mind. But then also, you know, let's talk about the fact that there isn't a national mask mandate. What is stopping this country from saying enough is enough? Let's at least enforce a mask mandate. And people say, oh, well, it's imposing upon my freedom. I can't breathe. Like, please stop it. The reality is that This is an outgrowth of what we're seeing from a failed public health system in America.
Well, the point Faraji makes there, Dr. Greg Carr, with regards to the booster, if people watch this show, they would have known that in May. We had experts from North Carolina A&T, and this is why we did this. We purposely found black experts. We purposely found black doctors, black scientists, black epidemiologists. And I remember the brother from North Carolina A&T, his name escapes me right now, I'm sorry. He, on this show, said there's going to have to be multiple shots. He said as the virus mutates, he said that the vaccine that is created for that particular variant. He said when COVID, when it shifts and it mutates, he said you're not going to have the same vaccine effective. No different when we've had in the past when there's a new flu variant. And folks say the flu shots from last year are not going to work on the flu shot this year. That's why we did that. Now, to Reese's point, she's absolutely right. We were sitting here yelling and screaming and kicking, telling the White House, I talked to them directly, telling the CDC, I talked to them directly, telling people in these states, I personally talked to them directly, saying, hey, y'all better don't just send that money. Don't let these white ad agencies just send that money to these other folk who just going to just BS it. You got to have real conversations with people that folks trust. And guess what? We dealt with Trump, who was sitting here saying everything was alive, sowing so many seeds of discontent, continues to do that. Then, yes, Faraji is right, what happened in the past, but also what people have to understand is that, as Khan said, if they tell you something different today, people are like, well, you told me this 2 months ago. Shit changed. That's like somebody saying, that's like, I mean, that ain't no different than somebody saying, this is your car note in May. Your ass don't pay your car note for 3 months. Guess what? That shit gonna change. Late penalties, interest. It happens. Okay. And that's the thing, man, that is so frustrating. Folks just don't. Greg, you deal with it. Dr. Carr, I don't understand. How am I getting a failing grade? Because your ass failed the last test.
Brother.
Well, how can I pass your class? Don't fail the next test. Do some extra damn credit, then you might pass the class. Guess what? Shit changes.
Shit changes. Well, as we know as teachers, the first first 3 words, when you come in December with a day left, talking about what can I do? So it's a little too late, but maybe go back to the first day of class, read the syllabus. So, you know, ignorance is perhaps the most powerful thing in human social organization, brother. They had, 40-some thousand people up in the Mercedes-Benz Dome to hear this boy, to watch this boy dance to his own music down there in Atlanta. So,
no, hold on. An unfinished album. Go ahead.
Well, I don't even know what, I know he living down there in the damn dome. He at the side. I mean, so ignorance. At the end of the day, I mean, here we are, not even 50% of the people in the United States of America. And this is a country where you can get the vaccine. Even as we just found out that Joe Biden and them talking about paying people $100 a piece to take the shot. I would say, shit, I would have waited 2 months if you're going to start giving out money. But the whole point is that, you know what I'm saying? We're not even at 50%. And 2/3, well, as you say, 2/3 of Vermont is fully vaccinated, but in Alabama and Mississippi, just over 1/3 of the people are vaccinated. And Kay Ivey down there throwing her own white nationalist kin under the bus. I can't tell them what to do. I mean, after all. And as you roasted her and said, well, you lifted the damn mask mandate and told the restaurant you could let anybody come in. What we have to understand is that the biggest skyrocket are the places where most of our people are. The per capita rate is going up 77 in Louisiana. Next is the South and the whole 33. Next is the West 13. Next is the Midwest. And then Northeast is the last, where we are right now. What does that tell us? It tells us that misinformation is real. And with all due respect to our brother, Dr. Khan, let's be clear. When that man snuck up behind you and said that you're un-American, that man was right. Because his America is the same America where in Georgia, as we see being reported, as they're going to try to take over Fulton County, because they said we don't trust the integrity of the election process, the Georgia legislature. By integrity, they mean white power. You understand? So when he says you're not American, a man who has worked in public health in Vietnam, Pakistan, South Africa, Australia, the People's Republic of China, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and all over the United States, when somebody steps up behind you and says, you're not American, what they're saying is, when I see somebody with a mask, that's somebody trying to take away my white power. And I will defend white power with my life. I am 150% okay with that. You can die to defend white power. But the problem is my mama's in Texas, see? And even though she's been vaccinated, my niece is just at the age where she can get the shot. What I don't want you to do is die and poison her. Now you die on your own. I have no problems with that. I'm okay with that. Not only am I at peace with that. In fact, I'm looking at balancing it out and thinking, this might just help us solve the problem of perhaps whether there'll be United States or not. Because you people have picked your whiteness over your life. The problem comes in when COVID doesn't recognize race. And so we are trapped with you. So now, whether the federal government says you got to have a shot to come back to work, whether private industry and the schools say you got to have a shot to come back in, the hammer getting ready to get dropped now. And you're going to have, in the words of our sister, you about to lose your job. Get this dance. And I'm okay with that. Fire these hillbillies. Or we're going to have to make another set of choices in this country. Because the fact of the matter is, this is not going away. And I should say this about our people, because Roland, you had your cameras there at Howard. I was one of the few times I ventured forth to that campus was to watch those Tuskegee folk whose ancestors, who were the brothers who, were suffered under the syphilis test. I have a real problem with the ad council and that whole campaign. The problem I have is that y'all are tone deaf. This is the Tuskegee experiment in this regard. This isn't about the specifics of whether or not those men were infected with syphilis. They were not by the government. It was left untreated. The problem is we don't trust the government. And if you want to know why we don't trust the government, it's because, as Reese, as you said, the misinformation campaign is flooding social media where a lot of our people are, and then you give money and prop up a class top-down approach to talking to our people instead of putting the money, as you say, here and places where you can actually have conversations and work through Dr. Sebi and C. Moss and everything else to get to the, well, what about, because we don't trust the government, and you can't use trusting the government as your point of entry to get us to take the shot. But you got to listen to people. But they're not going to do that because they are so damn arrogant. They think they can pay 3 or 4 or 5 bourgeois Negroes some money, run a campaign, and somehow a light bulb going to go off. Nah, them people was at the Mercedes-Benz Dome watching Kanye. Talk to them. You talk to them.
And,
hey, Doc, it is so.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing. What we're seeing right now is biological warfare, okay? And I'm not exaggerating with that. This disinformation campaign is biological warfare, and those who are buying into it are the foot soldiers of it. They are the ammunition for this. This isn't a government thing, and I completely agree with you, Faraji and Dr. Carr. There is warranted mistrust in the government because we don't have a credible public health approach to it. There are people who don't have paid time off if they get sick. There are people who cannot afford to go to the emergency room. There are people, if they do get the shot and they get sick, they won't have any way of getting treated for that sickness. So there is warranted skepticism and cynicism and hesitancy with that. But what people have to understand is that we have other countries like Russia who are exploiting this disinformation and our distrust to kill us, literally kill us. This is eugenics. It's amazing to me that the same people that believe that the COVID was hatched in a lab in Wuhan to kill people somehow don't seem to understand that the disinformation is doing exactly what you believe happened in that lab, which didn't happen that way, but that's what y'all believe. The same people that believe that Bill Gates created COVID for population control, that's not government mistrust. Bill Gates ain't no government elected official. The same people that believe that Bill Gates, because he said something about a pandemic could wipe out people, which is true. Every 100 years this happens. Y'all believe that Bill Gates created COVID to kill us, but you can't see the way that this disinformation is indoctrinating our communities, is propagandizing and dissuading us and deterring us from getting a life-saving vaccine. I need y'all paranoia to work at everybody. Be skeptical at everything that you're seeing. Be critical at everything that you're seeing, because you're swallowing it wholeheartedly and you're perpetuating it and you're spreading it, and it's disturbing as fuck. It's disturbing as fuck. And we need to have these conversations, and I try to have the conversations, but I give up sometimes because I'm like, look, I'm not breaking bread with you, so I don't really give a damn what you do. Like Dr. Carr said, if you want to go not take the vaccine and die, more power to you. It's called natural selection. But where I quibble with it is that children are not protected, and they don't have a choice. So once they get it, then y'all can all fuck off. I don't give a damn. But until they're protected, we all have a responsibility to them, because they don't have a choice in the matter. And the one other thing I will say is that I saw a poll that said that 75% of those who have not gotten vaccinated will not get vaccinated. They have no intentions of doing so. So this is going to be an issue that sticks around for a long time, and it's going to be an issue that we have to tackle. And some people might be reachable with enough conversations with the right people going into these spaces, but we have to recognize the problem before we can actually do something about it. We are not too smart to get duped by this disinformation, because it's happening everywhere we look. The Black vaccination rate is lower, and I believe 40-something states than the white and Asian vaccination. I think only Latinos are right there neck and neck with low vaccination rates. So we have to wise up, wake up. Like I said, if you're going to be critical, if you're going to be skeptical of everything, including the information that's trying to kill you.
Yes.
Yeah, and look, I tell you right now, look, it is wild and crazy. But I knew Reese was going to at least drop 3 F-bombs, at least 3. That was gonna happen, and I've run into 2 kids who watch our show. A 5-year-old girl, Eva. I met a brother today. I got some video. Their parents make them watch. So I did promise one of my followers. She said, "Roland, I give more money. You stop cussing." I said, but you know, cussing has actually generated more money. But I told her, I said, I'm gonna work on it. I said, pray for me. Pray for me. And then I'm sitting here, and I'm sitting there, cousin, and Henry gonna send me a text. He go, "Hey man, remember we on the church parking lot. We at the Muslim Community Center." I was like, "Yeah, okay." Then I just cussed him out in the text. But it's all right. It's all right. So let me do this here. I'm gonna go to a break. We come back. We got some more news we got to show you, including a crazy ass white people segment, and also the first Black woman on the National Labor Relations Board in its 86-year history. We'll tell you who she is. That's next on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Broadcasted live from the North Austin Muslim Community Center. Back in a moment.
The same forces that are trying to pass these bills across the country, but here in Texas, to, yes, suppress, to stop, to undermine the vote. The same folk that block you from having living wages are the same folk that wouldn't fix your utilities problem.
In this time, when our voting rights are under attack and economic justice is being denied,
we're launching a season of nonviolent moral direct action to demand 4 things by August the 6th, the 56th anniversary of the signing of the Voting Rights Act. Number 1.
end the filibuster.
Number 2. Pass all provisions of the For the People Act.
Fully restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act.
And number 4, raise the federal minimum wage to $15.
Pass the For the People Act. That is the last best hope for voting rights, not just in Texas, but Georgia, and Florida, and about a dozen other states.
Pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill and the For the People Act. Let our people vote.
The Latinx community is the rising electorate in Texas, and our representatives are threatened by these shifting demographics. Our pathway to citizenship, to a living wage, depend on our access to the ballot.
This is not just a black issue.
That's right.
This is a moral, constitutional, and economic democracy issue.
Poverty is reinforced by public policy. And what happens in Texas, as well as in America, we create policies that perpetuate poverty, and then we criminalize the poverty that we create.
There's only so much we can take, and it's time for us to stand up and speak loudly against what's happening here.
I think in Texas that it is time for a Selma-like. I think we ought to march from Georgetown to Austin. And we ought to come to Austin, but we ain't coming to Austin just for Austin. We come to Austin to save the Washington, D.C. Which side are you on? And don't tell us you can't do all of this. You must do all of this for the soul and the heart of this democracy. Forward together! Forward together! Forward together!
Floyd's death hopefully put another nail in the coffin of racism.
You talk about awakening America. It led to a historic summer of protest.
I hope our younger generation don't ever forget that nonviolence is soul force.
Priceless.
Yo, peace world, what's going on? It's the Love King of R&B, Raheem Devon.
Hey, I'm Cupid, the maker of the Cupid Shuffle and the Wham Dance.
What's going on? This is Tobias Trevelyan. And if you're ready, you are listening to and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
The National Labor Relations Board welcomes Gwynne Wilcox. She's the first black woman to serve on the board in 86 years. She was confirmed by a vote of 52-47 in the United States Senate. She will fill a vacant seat with the term expiring in August of 2023. Wilcox has worked on a series of high-profile cases in her decades-long career, including a major recent National Labor Relations case accusing McDonald's of retaliating against franchise workers who participated in an organizing campaign. The President Biden has prioritized appointing members to the National Labor Relations Board who will protect worker organizing, collective bargaining, and workers' rights. So congratulations. All right, folks, so let's, here in Texas, a viral video of the arrest of an 18-year-old black woman is causing outrage in Forney, Texas, about 210 miles northeast of Austin, where we are now 20 miles east of Dallas, folks. So here's the deal. The police get a call about someone darting into traffic. The officer, identified as Connor Martin, arrives on the scene, and Nakia Trigg was who he saw walking down the residential street. Then this happened.
Why you don't have to apprehend her? She was stay down, okay?
You need to back up. You need to back up. Do not touch me. Back up. Back up.
Just calm down. Calm down. Okay, hold on.
You can talk to her. You cannot touch me.
But you could get up. You don't have to do her like this.
She's trying to jump in front of me.
No, she's not. Please, Kaya, calm down. Kaya, calm down. Kaya, calm down. Just calm down, okay? Calm down. Just let her get up. Please. You do not have to sit on her like that. Kaya, calm down. Kaya, just calm down. Okay, just calm down. Just breathe, Kaya. Calm down. Breathe. I got her, please. She's what? Y'all is on her. Where are y'all? It's 102 degrees out here. I can't breathe. She cannot breathe. She's spitting up. I don't fucking care. What are you going to put? No. She hasn't done anything. No.
We'll turn her over if y'all back up.
Okay. But what are you going to turn her over for and cover? She has not done anything. Please let her go. She's literally just walking. Bro, babe. Pissing me off. She cannot stop. Bro, stop it. Okay.
We got the report. She's running.
Look at her, man. Okay.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
If we can restrain her, we'll stand her up and be fine, okay?
Okay, Mama.
She's suicidal. Okay. Okay, well, let us get her restrained and safe. Back up. Everybody will
She's literally foaming from her mouth. She's literally foaming from her mouth. Okay, can you just let her up? Why does she need handcuffs? Okay, wait. She didn't do anything.
If she's running in front of traffic.
She's not her mother. She's not going to go anywhere.
Roll over, okay?
She cannot breathe. Just stand back.
Roll over. Rolling over.
Why are y'all about to handcuff her?
Just hold on a
She
second.
has not done anything. And then you are on her all up. I need your fucking badge number and your name. Record his fucking shit. Please do. Calm down, Kaya.
Just calm down. Everything's okay.
It's easy for her. Like, sugar. He know that. He didn't give a fuck.
Hold on. If y'all hold on.
Please put that camera back on, up here on your chest. It was never on you in the first place. Why was your camera not on you while you were on Yeah, we finna report all that. All of that. You had to report all of that. Please do. We finna report all of that. You're fine. Where are shoes? Can you hold this?
You didn't have any whenever I found it.
Give here. I'm not talking to you.
Quit going.
Stop.
Quit going.
Jay, stop! Jay, stop! Jay, stop! 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 No, sir, please! Sir, please! Okay, stop! Okay, sir, please! Please! Put your hands up! Please! I'm up! He took his damn camera out! Jay, get out! I'm not here. It's all right, Jay. It's all right. It's all right. It's gonna get handled. It's gonna get handled for sure.
This is crazy, boy.
It's gonna get handled for sure.
Mama, stay calm. Mama, stay calm. Stay calm.
When I got here, this camera was
Kaya, stay calm.
facing dead.
Stay calm, Kaya.
All I did was ask him. My daughter couldn't breathe. She was foaming at the mat. It's all right. I got it all on video. Can you not let me get in the car with him? I'll get in the car with you. Please do not put him in the car with her. Please don't. Don't put either one of them in the car with her. Ma'am, please get back, please. Miss, come back. Come back. All I did was ask you to listen. I got it.
So Trigg was taken to the hospital. For a mental evaluation. Her mother, Anthony Gray, was arrested and charged with assault of a public servant and interference with public duties. She has been released on bond. Kaufman County Sheriff's Office is aware of the video and investigating the incident. That right there, Faraji, is a perfect example of what happens when an officer makes the right call as to how you engage. One, clearly this is why you need mental health professionals dealing with a lot of these cases. Two, I have never seen a police officer lay his entire body on a woman to restrain her. I have never seen that in my life. Third point, you had 3 other people there who clearly knew the woman. That's where you as the officer pull them in to assist you in keeping things calm. This woman had stuff foaming out of her mouth. And I remember the case after George Floyd when police were detaining someone and he was sort of resisting, and 3 other black people came along and said, hey, they helped the officer calm the brother down. They talked to the brother to relax. They helped him along. That's what happened. That's where cops have to make better decisions.
I'm gonna be honest with you, brother Roland. I couldn't. It's heartbreaking to watch that video. It's absolutely heartbreaking. I've never seen a move like that. The man was physically on top of the woman, on this young girl and me. And I mean, if you see foam coming out the mouth and you're in 100-degree weather, wouldn't you think, maybe I should just kind of change my restraining tactic here? I mean, you're physically on top of the woman. You got people around you. This is a dumbass officer. You know, and it's like we want to try to politic our way out of certain things. We want to try to rationalize our way out of things. But this is just piss poor judgment. And this is a terrible call. It was a terrible call. And I mean, then you get with the mother and the family members and the whole thing. I mean, I'm so sick and tired of simple calls that can be handled. You and I know that certain things can be handled in one way. It can go left in 30 seconds or less.
Yep. Reese?
Ooh, Chad, I already said 3 F words, so I'm going to try to restrain myself here. But what we saw was sexual assault, number 1. Number 2 is demonic. Okay? It's savagery. And it's intentional. The point was not to detain her for any kind of threat. The point was to, number 1, get his rocks off. Like I said, sexual assault. And number 2, to dehumanize her. And this is the problem. We can't appeal to white supremacists to see our humanity because they don't see that. Why was that necessary when if she was the person that was running through traffic, who gives a damn? That was an F word. Who gives a damn? What difference does that really make? Does that warrant violating her? Does that warrant assaulting her? Does that warrant brutalizing her in her completely vulnerable, traumatized state, adding to the trauma? If you see a person who is dealing with something, why do you exacerbate that trauma but for the fact that you are demonic? That you get your rocks off of doing that off of violating that woman. And then to your point, Roland, clearly these people around the young girl knew her. Clearly they were trying to calm her down. And Dr. Carr, I'm sure you'll say this, but you made the point when we had this discussion last year, I believe, that it's unfortunate that we have to essentially be accomplices to what the police are doing when they're already violating your rights. They're already breaking the law, but yet we have to help them so that they don't further brutalize us. It's disgusting. It's enraging. I hope that this woman and her mother get the legal counsel that they need to beat these charges because they never, ever, ever admit they're wrong. Or if they do, they quietly drop the charges. And she's in real legal jeopardy now. And she's out on bond, which means that there was money involved in the situation. So it's further harm done to this family. And like the mother said, I don't know if you guys heard it, why weren't you recording? And to the black man that walked up into that situation and helped those devils brutalize these 2 black women, shame on you, because we saw on that January 6th commission with the Capitol Police, it's not the same, but we saw how they testified to how they were attacked with racist abuse more than anything. They were fighting 2 wars. There's no back the blue when you're black. And so what he should have done in that moment is back these black women and de-escalate. And we need people to respect the humanity and the mental health state of people instead of violating them and taking advantage of them, which is what we saw.
That's absolutely right.
Greg Carr.
No, I agree with everything that's been said. I think this can be reduced to some very simple steps. The police are hunters. That's what they want. That's what they are. So it is now time for everyone who is not police to become the police. So, and I'm sure there are these videos out on YouTube and there's things, but these are some very simple steps. Step number 1, when you see something like this start happening, not only begin to film and record, but go live stream it if you can. If that means setting up a Facebook Live or whatever, live stream it and immediately indicate where you are, what street, what city, what state. This need because, you know, so we don't see like what we saw in Atlanta with those 2 black cops that kicked that lady in the head the other night. Black or white. If you back the blue, we back the black against you. You are the police. Now it's time for the people to become the police. It's one thing to record it, and then show it. No, live stream it. Number two, Lil Connor Martin, all of a buck, maybe a $1.05. You couldn't choke the life out of her because you the mascot of the damn Kaufman County Sheriff. Your hat's the biggest thing on you. We seen the pictures, little fella. And you're right, Reese. He's getting his rocks off. Look at him. She can breathe because he's a buck. His damn belt weigh more than anything, but the old cop is trying to save him. Number two, every cop engaged in something like this is no longer whatever their name is. Their name is Derek Chauvin. So propaganda can work. So when you say, get off her, Derek Chauvin, get off her, Derek Chauvin, get off her, killer, while you live streaming, putting your place, your location, your state out there to get this number three. And finally, after you've done that, please be clear that the next step is to, where is she going? Where are you taking her? And we all meeting up over there. Listen. The only way we're going to stop the police is become the police. There's no reforming the police. They are doing their job. They are hunters. Gotcha. They are protecting property and the elite. Now we got to become the police. And you know, Roland, you can have some of those classes because you done taught me many times, don't film like this, go like this. Well, now also live stream.
Yeah, that's
Ain't no
right.
talking to the police.
Absolutely. And folks, I do want to tell you about this, the story out of Colorado. Where a cop actually is facing charges because of his actions. This is in Aurora, Colorado. Folks, John Harbert is facing attempted first-degree assault, second-degree assault, oppression, felony menacing, and first-degree official misconduct for his role in the brutal arrest of Kyle Vincent. His partner, Officer Francine Martinez, is charged with failing to intervene and report the use of force by a peace officer. Harbert and Martinez were responding to a trespassing complaint when they saw three men sitting on a curb. Officers identified each person had felony warrants. Two of them ran away before Vincent was violently taken into custody. Body cam footage shows Harbert choking Vincent for nearly 40 seconds as blood streams down his face. Vincent was taken to a hospital for his injuries. The cut on his head required stitches. Harbert and Martinez have been released on bail. Now, if you remember, Aurora is the same city where 23-year-old Elijah McClain was killed after being put in a chokehold by police in 2019. Here's the rest of that video.
No, I don't. I don't have to stop fighting. Bro, I don't have no warrant. You guys have the wrong guy. I don't have a warrant, bro. Stop fighting. Have a warrant. I don't. Stop fighting. Help! 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 I don't have a warrant, bro. Bro, I don't have no fucking warrant, bro. Get on your face. Bro, I don't. Get on your face. I don't have a warrant, dude. Get on your face. Okay. Get on your face now. Okay, bro. Get on your face. Okay, bro. Okay. Get on your face. You're killing me. On your face! You're killing me, bro! On your face! You're killing me! Get on your face! You're killing me! Roll over on your face! You're killing me! Roll over! You're killing me! Get on your face! You're killing me! You're killing me! Get on your face! I don't have a warrant, bro! On your face! I don't have a warrant! Get over on your face! Okay, dude! I'm just on your face! On your face! I don't have a warrant, bro! Get on your face! I don't have a warrant! I don't have no warrant! Yeah, no! Get on your face! No! I can't go to jail for something I didn't do! Turn over! No!
Folks, that body cam footage goes on for almost another 8 minutes. That's the but this is why you got to change your law. This is why you have to say that when another officer fails to intervene, they can be charged. I hope each one of these cops is convicted of their heinous actions because that's the sheer stupidity that we see by officers. And the man is yelling, "I don't have any warrants." That, folks, is, I'm telling you, this is why you got to change those contracts. This is why these mayors and these city councils should have absolutely zero tolerance when it comes to this. And they should say, if you are an officer and you see another cop doing wrong, your behind is going to be in trouble. If you don't turn your body camera footage on, as I've been saying for a long time, automatic firing. If you lie on a police report, automatic firing. You're not going to change what happens unless you start sending these thugs with badges and guns to prison, and until you hit their pocketbooks. And we also have retired LAPD Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, who has been on our show many times, who said there are no doubt Klansmen who are serving in police departments, and she said it's point blank. And that's the thing that we just got to just be honest about and deal with. And so we'll be following that story, folks, to see what happens next. All right, my last story. Y'all know what time it is.
No charcoal grills are allowed. I'm white. I got you, huh?
Illegally selling water without a permit
on my property.
Whoa! Hey!
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
So let's call her Racist Rachel. Not Karen, Racist Rachel. Rachel decides to, folks, please. Rachel decides to go after a black employee at Ross. Let's just say a sister who was there shopping at Ross, she didn't take too kindly to Racist Rachel snapping on the sister.
But see, you can talk to her crazy, but when you got somebody that's on your level, you better call security right now. What's gonna happen? Get out of my face. What's gonna happen? Get out of my face. Bitch, I came to swing you out. I know you. I know. I know.
Another Karen.
You better not fuck with her no more, though. You better not fuck with her no more. Because guess what? I came for you. I put my shit down and I came back here for you. She employ you the month. That girl don't bother nobody. Bitch, please. But guess what? I came back here for you. But you know what you didn't do? I want the police called right now. I don't give a fuck who you call. I give you a reason to call the fucking police. You better call the police. I give you a reason to call the police, bitch. Come on, man. I know. Now call me by my name. Come on. Because you know my name. Come on. Girl, fuck you. And I meant that. I came back to give it to you. Fuck you. Racist bitch. That shit gonna stop. That shit gonna stop. That shit never gonna stop. You racist bitches. Sick of you motherfuckers. Now come with it. Now, gonna keep it going. I don't give a fuck who you call. You racist bitch. Ain't nobody did anything to you. No, you did something to her. That's what you did. I'm standing here shouting. I know.
Well, Reese, I think she just totally topped you because she threw in 7 F-bombs and an MF in that. I mean, and she called her at least the B word at least half a dozen times. And so, Reese, she made you look like a church deacon.
Oh, no. Did you see my Piers Morgan video? Because I definitely called
yes,
him.
Well, I'm just saying in that particular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, y'all do. Yeah, y'all.
I had 3 F-bombs today, but my Piers Morgan video was 1 minute and maybe 30 seconds of fury of F-bombs and B-words. And I'm with the sister. You know what? It's time to violate these people. It's time to get disrespectful because they're too comfortable going after us. They're too comfortable disrespecting us. And then when you turn around and you swing it back on them, all of a sudden, oh, I didn't even do nothing. Oh, why are you talking to me like that? I'm violating your ass the same way you try to violate us. But guess what? You're going to run into the right one. Somebody going to cuss your ass out. And the next step is going to be to lay your ass out on the ground, too. So I'm with the sister right there. And that's what I'm about, okay? Because people are getting too damn comfortable disrespecting us because they think, oh, okay, we're going to sit up here, we're going to pull up our camera, and we don't want nobody to see how we was acting ignorant. Oh, I'll get ignorant. I'll get ratchet. I'll get ghetto. I'll get whatever it is that you want to call me. I'll be a stereotype, but I'm going to get in your ass, and you're going to learn not to keep messing with us. And so I'm all for that energy. I'm all for that energy online. I'm for that energy in person. Anybody that knows me in person knows that's exactly how I get down when it's time to get down. And that white lady, that Karen, she sure was on mute. She was sure keeping it cute. And the funny thing to me about it was how she said, I didn't even do anything to you. And see, that's where they don't expect us to come in and protect each other. But they don't know that that's what we do. When we see another Black woman that's being abused and she's in a situation like where she's at her job and she can't lay your ass out, that's where we step in. And so if that was me, I would have done the exact same thing. Kudos to her. Let's stop being civil. Let's stop being the one to record every little incident, cuss them out, lay them out. It don't have to go viral, but you let that person know, not this time. Ain't no, oh, Twitter, do your thing, identifying them. No, check them right there on that spot and let them know you ain't gonna play me like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Reese mentioned her Piers Morgan video. So let me do this here. Let me give. No. Let me give everybody. I'm giving y'all 30 seconds. If y'all have kids in the room and y'all don't want them to hear this, I'm giving y'all warning right now. I appreciate y'all who watch the show with your kids. Right now is the HBO Showtime version of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Just so I got to do this here. And then, I can't do this. So I've given y'all ample warning. So Piers Morgan has some words for Simone Biles, and let's say Reese was not feeling white supremacist Piers Morgan and what he had to say. So if y'all don't like cuss words, mute the show right now. Because y'all about to hear way more than what you heard at that Ross in Mississippi. Everybody has been warned. Everybody's been warned. Here comes the wrath of Reese.
Piers Morgan, shut the fuck up. I repeat, shut your raggedy ass, mediocre, shrimp dick, incel, white supremacist, motherfucking blob, face jar, mayonnaise spoiled in a motherfucking 90-degree weather looking ass up. We are fucking sick of your stupid ass opinions. We don't want to motherfucking hear you, bitch. Keep Simone Biles' name out your raggedy motherfucking mouth. I don't know why you're so fucking triggered by Black women that are far superior to you, far more accomplished than you. But you need to take that up with your motherfucking therapist and leave your funky ass thoughts off the motherfucking internet, bitch. You should take some cues from these Black women on mental health and go seek motherfucking help, bitch, because clearly you fucking need it. We're tired of you. We don't want to fucking hear you, bitch. Keep your opinions to yourself, bitch. All you fucking do is cloud chase off of more fucking accomplished Black women. And the only motherfuckers that agree with you are racist, sorry, sack of shit degenerates, just like you're a punk ass bitch. I know that this isn't going to change your opinion, but what I do want you to know is on behalf of Black America, fuck you, bitch. We don't respect you. We don't want to motherfucking hear about you. And we're going to call your motherfucking ass out because you ain't shit. You ain't never going to be shit. And if nobody told you today, you are a worthless sack of shit. Shut the fuck up.
Period.
I look at the look on Faraji's face.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to respond, so I had to call somebody. Just go ahead and bring him up, please. J. Anthony Brown. Jay, make sure you're not. Jay, go ahead, Jay. Jay, you're on mute. Get off mute, Jay. Jay, you on mute? Okay, y'all, make sure.
Now we can hear you.
Guys, turn my audio. Don't turn my audio down. Damn.
Hello.
Okay, so there you go, J. Anthony Brown.
Reese.
J. Anthony Brown, you take it away.
Reese.
Yeah.
Can she hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Reese,
yeah. She can hear you. She can hear you.
From one cusser to another cusser, you use way too many bitches. Way too many.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I'm ashamed of how many bitches you put in that sentence. You know, you didn't go with dickhead. You didn't go with fish face fucker. I mean, there's so many ways, and I want you to do your homework on your cussing, okay? Because I know you're fired up, but the next time bitch should not be used that much. No way. I'm gonna allow you to do. I'm gonna allow you to do. In a rant like that, I'm gonna give you maybe 6 bitches, okay? 6, 7 is your limit, Reese. After that, we want to go with dick face, fuck, face. Go with the face, dick face, fuck face. You didn't use way enough assholes. I mean, way. You were just short on your assholes that you could have gone with.
Yeah. I got it.
Jay, you did a show. Jay, where you said, man, I don't know who this woman is. I think it was Clay K. You're like, I don't know who this woman is. But that's the most cussing.
I've heard you on Clay Kane's show, and I don't know who. I called Roland. I said, I don't know who this woman is, but I've never heard anybody that knowledgeable that could cuss that much. You are a person of my heart. I love you. I really do. I never met you in my life, but like I said, from now on, you can't use that many bitches. You just are not allowed. In the annals of cussing, you get 6 to 7 bitches, and then we move on. Okay?
Got it. I will take that under advisement. I'm more creative when I talk about women because I don't use the B word for woman. But for peers, I wasn't tethered by the B word. But now I know next time.
In cursing a man, you can call a man a bitch and not be offensive. No. You are absolutely right. Don't apologize. No, but I just thought you were heavy, real heavy on bitch. Yeah. That's what
Yeah. But I have a distinctive way of saying it that people enjoy. But I will call less bitches and more MFers. I did not use assholes, so I should have used that one.
I mean,
but I did get male face in
there. Bitch, motherfucker, punk bitch.
Yeah.
I need you to remix the video for me.
Yeah.
Remix it. Let's send it to Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. It was
Thank you. It's an honor. I'm so honored. That's the best compliment I can get.
Well, I've been trying to get Jay on Thursday. He's been real busy the last 3 weeks, and he texted me. He said, "I can come on now." I said, "Man, y'all got to get him on." So, Reese, that was my surprise for you, Reese. Having Jay Anthony Brown give you some lessons on cussing.
Love you, man.
The White House was mad.
All right, Jay.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right,
Roland.
All right, Jay.
Later, man.
Love you, my brother. Greg, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, brother, look, everybody out here, y'all know that this is an art. I got a sister, a good friend of mine, we wrote for many years, Makeda Kumasi out there in LA. She's a spoken word artist, and she gets up to perform sometimes. She said, "My heart is pumping poetry." What we just heard is poetry. Now, if you're in a speech class at a HBCU, if your professor worth your salt, you would look at both of those demonstrations of eloquence and chart them out. When that sister walked into that Ross, you heard the first thing she said, "I know you." Pause right there. Now, that's the first line. So this is not a speech to persuade. This is not. I know you, and then I came here for you. And I'm like, was that Mississippi or Louisiana? Because she sounded like Lil Wayne, baby. I came here for you. And then she keeps going and she said, girl, fuck you. I came to give it to you. Now let's switch to Reese. You see, in both these examples, what you have is a sexual undertone. They are stripping. In the first case, she's taking away this woman's power and her humanity. In Reese, in your case, you are stripping this man of his manhood. Hence, what I think was the appropriate use of the word bitch. And with the inflection, they took our languages, but we kept the tones. So when you say bitch, in other words, and Roland, you confirmed it because you said, and Faraj, you appreciate this, Clay Davis. You didn't say Clay Kane because that's how he used shit. In other words, there's a tone to it. Finally, now I can't say MF because I'm thinking, Faraj, you appreciate this, Francis Crest Welsing. What are the origins of this? However, when you call somebody a bitch ass, what you're really doing, you are completely removing any ambiguity as to whether or not they're a man. Reese, that was a clinic in destroying any notion of manhood. And this is what I'm saying. All you young people, I'm too old for this, but what I've noticed is, and what I expect is going to happen, Reese, and with the sister Ross, some of these young people are going to take Nas's ether and put it under there. So just when it goes viral with the ether soundtrack underneath it, just make sure they break y'all the peace of the prophets. I'm thinking that's what they're going to do for her. I don't know.
Hey, no, I think so too.
Hey, look,
First thing, Dr. Carr just gave us a class. First, J. Anthony Brown, then Dr. Carr had to break it down like that. Come on, bro. Come on. Only on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Now look, now y'all know, I throw a couple of cuss words on this show, but Henry Anthony will tell you when we in a Roro mobile. I will cuss them up. Y'all don't understand that there's a rhythm to cussing.
Oh, I can testify to that.
There's a rhythm. There's a rhythm. I know I'm a Hall of Fame cusser.
Yes, sir.
I know the late John. I know. Y'all think I don't even get me started. Cause y'all don't let me. Cause see, first of all, when you hit somebody with the right cussing, you gotta have, especially if you're a dude, you gotta have a certain level of bass. Yeah. You gotta have a level of what Dr. Carter said of complete disrespect.
Yes, sir.
For that person, and then you got to go for the gut. I'm gonna give y'all one. He ain't gonna like me telling this story. When we had our TV One show. We went out on TV One show. Harry and I would engage in this thing back and forth where he was like, what? I'm running this. He was like, I'm running this. And I was like, man, you ain't running a damn thing. So we start going at it. I said, let me tell you something. I said, you know what? I said, pretend this is a piece of chalk. And I walked over to him and I did an outline around his shoes. I said, you the man inside the chalk. Outside the chalk, you don't run shit. Outside the chalk, I'm the goddamn man. Now, even Henry said, damn, the chalk, your ass pulled the chalk out on me. I said, sure as hell did, and walked the hell off. Even Henry had to laugh at that one. See, I ain't cussed that much. See, that's the other deal. So when you hit them, you can't. You got to add some other stuff to it. To your point, Doc, you got to ether them. And so every time, so there's those moments. There are those moments when we go at it. I'll be like, let me get that damn chalk out.
Ooh.
Let me get you. And see, you got to throw a look, and you got to throw a look in there. See, y'all didn't see the look. This is the look. You want me to pull that chalk out on your ass? See, I'm just.
Somebody's parent, bro, Roland. Why you gotta be somebody's parent, man? That's a parent move right there.
Well, actually, no, Faraz. That's what they say.
No,
in Philly. That's what they say. I sonned you. In other words, I made you my son. When you say that thing, when the kids in Philly say, I sonned you.
Hey, Dr. Carr, Reese made me feel like Reese made me feel like a baby mother. She came across like a black baby mother.
Oh, no question.
Talking to the dude, the father of a dude who is just not there when he needs to be there. Oh my God. I felt that thing right there.
Hey, look, I told y'all.
You gotta fight.
I told y'all, ain't no show like this. Let me go ahead and say this to the North Austin Muslim Community Center. This wasn't the plan to have all this cussing on the show today. I appreciate y'all to do the show from here. But sometimes, but cussing will keep your blood pressure down. I'm just letting you know. You ain't got me. Mine is like mine is 115. Mine 115 over 70. I ain't like. I
don't think they mind. I don't think they mind, bro. I don't think they mind because in the Quran, correct me if I'm wrong, Faraji. In the Quran it says God plans and human beings plan, but Allah is the greatest of planners. So in other words, this is all in divine order, brother. It wasn't gonna be it was gonna have to be. But you know, Roland, you and Henry are friends. Y'all roll deep. In the case in Ross, when she said, what she's saying is, nuck if you buck. Anybody stand there and take that kind of cussing and don't fight? She said, I know you. And Reese, Pierce don't want no part of you. You got to fight. When you get cussed out,
hell on none. And that's why Pierce, he was whining when he got blocked by Naomi. And I was like, yo, punk ass. Actually, I think I tweeted, Pierce Morgan, you pure bitch asses, because you blocked me. So shut the hell up. But that's the whole deal, y'all. I told you.
He did set his followers on me. I had 1,000 white supremacists in my comment calling me monkey, Shanae, everything. And you know what? I did some of my best work. I dragged the hell out of them. I had them. If you go to my tweets and replies, you will see a master class in triggering white supremacists. I was on their ass like white on rice. And so guess what? You're going to have to send 2-3 more armies for me, bitch, because I don't care. And I'm going to cuss you out. I'm going to cuss out everybody down with you. I made it clear, and I'm not backing down. And everybody who thought they was going to get me to back down, they got told off just like their boy Piss Morgan did.
Woo!
I told y'all. I told y'all, ain't no show. Go ahead.
No, I was saying Facebook, our Facebook watchers, for all of our Facebook watchers out there tonight, they are dying.
Are they?
Hey. Our Facebook watchers. Let me just tell y'all. I'm looking at the comments.
I told y'all, ain't no show like this on linear TV, broadcast, cable, digital. Ain't no other show like this, y'all. We keep it real. We keep it black. You know why? Because it's black owned. If y'all want to support what we do, please support us via Cash App. Hey, let me be real clear with y'all. Ain't no other black media out here covering this March for Democracy. We live streaming the entire march, all 5-6 hours every single day. That live view unit we got, yo, that's costing us money every single day. And so I just want y'all to know this is why we do what we do for our panels, for our guests, for what we do out here in Austin. We're going to be live streaming tomorrow. Don't forget, on Saturday, we're going to be broadcasting live from the state capital of Texas, because this is important to us as well. And so please support us via Cash App. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar you give goes to support this show. Every single dollar, y'all, for the equipment, for the staff, for the travel. Cash App, Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. You've got, of course, Venmo.com/RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. PayPal.me/RMartinUnfiltered. Please support what we do. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, I cannot wait to drop an announcement on y'all. First of all, we're going to do a big unveiling of our new studio. Man, it's going to be, y'all, I'm telling y'all, it's going to be crazy. But then I got another announcement that I'm going to drop on September 2nd. Because we launching something on September 4th, the 3rd anniversary of Roland Martin Unfiltered. that's going to make all y'all say, damn. That's what y'all going to say on that day. I'm just letting y'all know. All right, folks, I'm going to see y'all tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, when we live stream the third leg of the march. Y'all, check it out. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Y'all know how we do it. We keep it real. We keep it black. We keep it unapologetic. And we keep it real. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow.